channel, Stylish Hidden Treasures. My name is Mary, and I'm a full-time reseller on both eBay and Poshmark. Today I'm bringing you another What Sold video. This is going to be for all of my eBay sales. The dates are February 24th through March 6th, which is 11 days in total. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to tell you what sold, and then there'll be kind of a picture caption up here on the right or left that kind of shows you what sold, and then I'll kind of let you know if that particular item came from liquidation or from the bins. If I remember, last video I was supposed to tell you guys that and I totally forgot, so I'll kind of let you know where I sourced those items. So on eBay I had a total of 56 things that sold in the 11 days, which is low. Most of everyone's sales are low, but I'm learning in what is selling to kind of take fair offers, even if we personally feel like some of our items are kind of valued a little bit higher. So essentially what I'm learning is to take the emotion out of some of my items. So the very first thing that sold was a vintage 70s two-piece crop top pant set, which was completely adorable. This immediately sold within a day for $40, and this was sourced at the bins. Next was a Moschino cheap chick blazer, had kind of like a comic book print. I just showed this in a recent haul. This was one of those items I told you in the haul, I just knew it was going to be a good sale, and it definitely was. This sold for $115.99 in 1 hour of me listing it. The next thing that sold was a Dr. Seuss fish, one fish, two fish earrings. This was sourced from Amazon liquidation box. This sold for $10. Next was a vintage villager houndstooth pleated skirt, which I've had for a while, maybe wasn't the best pickup. This was sourced at the bins, and this sold for $13. Next was a handmade Mexican embroidered type of top. I usually do pretty good with these type of tops. This sold for $22.03. Next thing that sold was a Perry Ellis sweater. This was brand new with tags, sourced at the bins for $22.05. Next thing that sold was a Fossil women's all leather belt, which sold for $15. Next was a vintage cute options maxi skirt. This was sourced at the bins, sold for $20.71. And I mainly picked this up because it kind of has a cool boho type of vibe to it. Next was a Vince Camuto silk floral top, which sold for $10. Then we had a brand new pair of isotoner gloves that sold for $15.63. Then we had a vintage gingham, kind of like a little girl's dress, which I thought was so cute. Love picking up vintage girl dresses. They sometimes do better than the modern day kids clothes, believe it or not. This sold for $22.74. Next was a Jones of New York embroidered linen tunic top. This was a very good example of something that is definitely a bread and butter piece. However, the style is what was going for it, and the material. This sold for $19.10, and this was also from the bins. Next was a Wonderly brand maxi dress, brand new with tags, sold for $13. Then we had this vintage Lizette prom dress. Guys, it was beautiful. This sold for $90 the very first day that I had it listed. Yeah, I kind of took a lot less than what I felt like the dress deserved. But like I said, I learned this week a bad habit of mine that I'm trying to break through, which is not being so attached to the price that you put on certain items. In my opinion, it was worth a little bit more, but hey, I wasn't going to leave $90 on the table. And this too was sourced at the bins. Next thing that sold was the isotoner gloves for $17.48. Then we had a Talbot's floral top, sold for $10.92. Then we had this Warner's brand new with tag pink bra sold for $13.69. Then we had the Celtic Kerry Woolen Mills Ireland wrap, which was kind of like a lamb's wool blend, just shown in a recent haul, sold for $23.74, and that too was from the bins. Then we had a lot of 4 Hanes bras, kind of like sporty bras. These were all brand new with tags. This sold for $20.94. Then we had this dress, kind of like a floral Italian dress. I believe it was pronounced Les Copains. This dress sold for $16. Then we had this extremely large Champion fanny pack, which was just sourced from a ThredUp 15 handbag box. This sold for $23.65. Next was a Mike Bennett prom dress, beautiful dress. This too was vintage 80s, sold for $110 within 2 days of listing, and this too was from the bins. Next thing was a vintage 90s Shirley Hollywood teddy. I had literally, and I'm not exaggerating, like 27 watchers on this, and nobody would pull the trigger. Finally, I lowered the price just a tad bit, and it sold for $23. Next thing that sold was a vintage Lands taffeta, kind of like a plaid velvety velour type of dress, sold for $17. Then I had a vintage pink lace off the shoulders dress. This sold for $65. And as you can see, kind of a trend of a lot of vintage type of dresses. I just listed these dresses, guys, and I didn't even know if they were going to sell because of the economy and all, but they are. So the next thing was a Coach wristlet, which was for $15. Then we had a Talbot's polka dot cardigan, thin knit sweater, sold for $14.90. Then we had a Nike swimsuit that sold for $14.74. Then we had Coldwater Creek jeans, brand new with tag, which Coldwater Creek unfortunately does not do well with reselling. However, these did not too bad at $21.63. And both this, the Nike and the wristlet and the Talbots, all were from the bins. Then we had this brand Bit and Brittle, which I think is sold at like Tractor Supply. I don't know if you guys have those type of stores in your state. So kind of like a country type of style tunic. This sold for $11. And then I had a reversible vest, which is kind of like a faux fur brand called Fuda. Brand new with tags, sold for $15, and this too was sourced from the bins. Then I had a Kanji Nintendo sweatshirt, which the comps actually looked really good. So it was part of like a tournament or something like that, branded Nintendo sweatshirt. This went overseas through the global shipping. This was sourced from a ThredUp 100-pound women's mystery box. This sold for $26.84. Next was a vintage Adele funky kind of like retro sweater. This sold for $27.42. That too was sourced at the bins. And then I got a LuLaRoe 3X floral dress, new with tags, for $22.03 from the bins. Vintage Zoom Zoom dress. Love this particular brand. These formal dresses do really good for me. This sold for $35. Next, I had a Rachel Pally Tropical Clutch bag, which was brand new with tags, sold for $14. Then we had an Auden Black Plunge Bra, brand new with tags, sold for $14.43. Both items were from the bins. Then we had a Maggie London silk dress, 100% silk dress, sold for $17.97. And a vintage, I think it was called Laguna or something like that, crystal 6-strand necklace for $17.19. Both of those items were also from the bins. Then we had an Alberto Macaulay knit cardigan, which was actually sourced from a Goodwill blue box, their vintage Y2K box. This sold for $15. Then we had an Alex Evenings gown, brand new with tags, sourced from Macy's liquidation, and this sold for $89.55. Next, we had a Kurt alder baseball string lights, which is kind of cool, like a novelty type of light thing. This sold for $27.33. This was sourced from the bins. Then I had a vintage 70s prairie dress for little girls. This sold for $24.63. Macy's tote. It was kind of like a turquoise teal type of color, vegan bag. Sold for $19.17. Both items were sourced from the bins. And then we had a Banana Republic men's sweater, kind of like a gray wash. This sold for $14 from the bins. And then I got a Shade and Shore bikini top, brand new with tags, only sold for $7.13. And this was from a Target liquidation box. Then we had this abstract printed scarf, sold for $8. And then we had a Nuska, kind of like a hand-painted purse. This is actually being returned. You know, someone just didn't like it. That sold for $30. Then we had a LuLaRoe cape, brand new with tags, kind of a wrap knit. This sold for $16.45. Then we had this brand called Pixie Lady, which was kind of like a colorful maxi skirt. It was brand new with tags. It was cute, you know, so I don't know if the brand was worth anything. However, it sold for $15. And that was also, both of those items also were from the bins. Then we had a 435 Matilda Jane little girl dress. This sold for $12. And a Michael Simon cardigan, embroidered cardigan sweater, sold for $28.49. And all of those items too were just sourced at the bins. The Michael Simon I just showed in a recent haul. So then we had a Jones New York 100% silk skirt, sold for $19.78. An Abercrombie hooded zip jacket sold for $20, and both items were also from the bins. And a Dr. Seuss funky twin earrings, which sold for $13.21, and that was sourced from Amazon liquidation. So these were a total of 56 things on eBay that sold in the last 11 days for a grand total of $1,397.99. So now we're going to hop into the what's sold on Poshmark. Sometimes I do 2 different videos, but I figure, yeah, why not? Let's just do them both. So on Poshmark, we had a total of 32 things that sold for these 11 days. So let's go ahead and hop in. I will tell you what it sold for and then how much I made after they took their fees, which Poshmark takes 20%. So the first thing that sold was a Pilcro letterpress anthro jeans, kind of had like a floral hem, sold for $29. After fees, I made $21.18. Next was an at-home wallpaper peel and stick, brand new with tags, sourced at the bins. So were the jeans as well, sold for $26. After fees, I made $18.78. Next was a Talbot's button-up shirt, had a cool novelty like teacup print, sold for $17. After fees, I made $11.58 from the bins. Then I got a vintage Christian Dior belted robe, sold for $30. After fees, I made $24, and it was brand new with tags, also sourced at the bins. Then I had this Calvin Klein swimsuit, sold for $14. After fees, I made $9.03. Then I had the Millie of New York 100% silk animal printed top, sold for $25. After fees, I made $20. Next, I had a Matilda Jane tunic. This sold for $12. This is for like little girls. After fees, I made $7.03. Then I had a brand called Everlay. It was kind of like a striped maxi dress, tank dress, sold for $15. After fees, I made $12. Both of those items too were from the bins. Then I had this brand called Spence. It was kind of like a jersey knit dress with a little bit of fringe, kind of had a flapper kind of vibe to it. Sold for $16. After fees, I made $10.78. Then I had this Gymboree knit sweater dress for little girls, sold for $12. After fees, made $9.05. Then I had a vintage 90s Chaws knit sweater, kind of had like an Aztec type of vibe, sold for $20, after fees made $13.98. Then I had this brand called S-Zone, which was a leather tote bag. It was brand new with tags. All of these things I just mentioned, and I think I probably forgot to say, were all from the bins. Sold for $40, after fees I made $32. Then I had this Spanx shapewear, kind of like a slip dress type of shapewear thing. So for $15, after fees I made $12. Then I had this Cole Haan satchel bag, which was sourced from ThredUp liquidation, or excuse me, ThredUp 15 handbag box, sold for $37. After fees I made $27.58. Then, stay in there guys, we're not too far off from the end. I had a straighten your crown bracelet, sold for $10, after fees made $7.05. That was sourced from Amazon liquidation. I had a Faith Heart ring, praying hand, sold for $15, after fees made $12, also sourced from liquidation from Amazon. Next was an Eileen Fisher knit cardigan, sold for $47. Just showed this in one of my haul videos as well. This sold for $37.60, which was a really good flip. That was from the bins. Then I had an Old Navy tunic top for $16, sold for $16, and I made $10.78, also from the bins. Then I had a New Day balloon sleeve sweater, brand new with tags, sold for $16, after fees made $10.78. Then I had a White House Black Market lace strapless dress, sold for $13, after fees made $8.03. Then I had this Adidas track jacket, which was sourced from Macy's liquidation, brand new with tags, sold for $41, after fees made $32.80. Then I had a Vera Bradley duffel bag. This was kind of more of a vintage pattern. This sold for $30, after fees made $24. Then I had this cabbie suede skirt, say that like 4 times, cabbie suede skirt, sold for $17, after fees made $13.60. Then I had an Ann Taylor geometric dress, sold for $16, after fees made $10.78. Then I had a Sunday on Broadway Anthro, kind of like a thin knit with eyelet lace trim sweater, sold for $14, after fees made $9.03. Then I had a Free People turtleneck, which was, I believe, like a lamb's wool and Angora blend. It was a vintage Free People at that. Sold for $30, after fees made $21.98. Then I had a Beach Betty bikini bottom, brand new with tags, sourced from the bin, as well as all these other things I just mentioned. Sold for $14, then after fees made $9.03. Then I had this Hurley canvas tote plaid, which was just sourced from a ThredUp box. Didn't even know if that it was necessarily going to sell, because I didn't know if Hurley was still a thing. But it did for $20. Then after fees made $16. Then I had a vintage bomber distressed leather jacket, which I thought was just awesome looking. Sold for $44. After fees made $33.18. Then we had a Jelly the Pug dress, which is a little girl's dress. Sold for $12. After fees made $7.03. Then we had a St. John knit sweater, sold for $28, after fees made $22.40. And then the last thing that sold during this time period was a BB polka dotted jean, kind of like a skinny jean, sold for $12, after fees made $9.05. So on Poshmark, after they took all their fees, I made a total of $679.01 for those 11 days. So both platforms, eBay, I sold 56. On Poshmark, I sold 32. Combined the sales together, I made right at $2,100 for those 11 days. So sales are a little bit up, but I don't know if that's going to maintain, because obviously sales are kind of sucking everywhere, right? Still. So my suggestion, like I said in the last video, is kind of throw maybe your old business model out the door and just kind of go to a high volume model at this point. You're going to sell a lot more stuff, a lot less in many cases, but then you'll kind of make up the difference at the end. So that's kind of what's working for me. If you guys have any suggestions on what's working for you, please do share. But one thing I learned about myself in this last week, like I said in the beginning of the video, is sometimes you have to take the emotion out of how you've priced your items. I mean, for me personally, I look at my time is valuable, right? So the time it takes for me to source it at the bins or, you know, thread up or whatever. So you have your sourcing. Then after that, you're taking great pictures. You're looking up comps. You're creating a great description so you obviously don't get a return, hopefully. So you're putting in the time. So then in my opinion, my time has some type of value when it comes to what I'm listing for. And then you look up the comps, and what I usually do is I price a little bit lower than the comps because I want that sale. But now I'm realizing even when you're priced really good, people still want to lowball you. And then you get offended because you're like, really, I'm already giving you a great deal. And so I'm noticing when I kind of take a step back and say, like, for example, that Lizette prom dress, I paid $2.45 for it at the bins, and I sold it for what, $90, and yet I was offended because they were literally giving me an offer like $40 less than what I was asking. But then I had to ask myself, if I gave somebody $2.40 and they gave me back $90, would that not be an awesome deal? Yes. And that's why I have to look at it as when you source things really low at the bins, for an example, or yard sales, or if you get something for free, a profit is a profit. And we always prefer to have high profits, right? But at the end of the day, if you pay very little for it, take the sale, especially right now where things are very up in the air, the economy is bad and people aren't buying as much. You need to keep that money flow going. And so that's what I learned for myself in this last week, is to learn to take the emotion out of my prices. So I don't know if that helps somebody. If I inspired you to maybe look at things in a different way, that was wonderful. But that's what I am trying to kind of teach myself to do, because I think many times as resellers, we have to kind of help each other out. And if it's working for me, or it's a mindset that's working for me, then I'd want to share it with you guys, and vice versa. Maybe you're doing something different and you'd like to share it with us so that we can too generate a little bit more sales during this time. So help is help, right? So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely check out my mystery unboxing of my thread up 120 handbag. Well, it's not 120 handbags, 120 15 handbag box. And then I have a couple Goodwill hauls out as well. And then I actually have a couple more Goodwill blue box jewelry boxes that have just shipped too. So if you enjoy looking at jewelry and mystery boxes, those videos will be coming out in the next week as well. So thanks again for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing. And then also hitting the bell notification so that way you are aware when I upload a new video. Thank you guys for all my subscribers. I just hit 100. Well, I'm thinking I'm at 101 now. So that's a pretty cool accomplishment in the first few months that I got started on YouTube. So I appreciate all your support, and I'll see you guys next time in the next video. Thank you.